Here we go.
Good morning, EJ.
Good morning. It's Monday morning.
That's right.
It's Easter Monday morning. We've been off all weekend, sort of.
A lot of I've also been converted to the business world, like a business world calendar as well. I'm like, all right, we're in the midst of the first week of the second quarter. And I said that at home, and my family were like, second quarter of what? Care. Yeah. I'm like, of the business season. And they're like, oh, what does that mean to you? And then I went on, and I could tell that they weren't listening. They all just kind of grabbed their phone after about a minute or two, and then they're like, oh, is he still talking? You know, they just kept going, and I was like, all right, I'll save this for EJ.
My kids will do that too. They'll just pick up their phone they usually have it when I'm talking to them. Then they'll just blurt out something while I'm talking, completely unrelated to somebody else. Like, I guess I wasn't talking.
Yeah. So you knew, right? Yeah. If only there were cameras to see the rejection on your face when they kind of like just snowed you with some random comment about something else, right?
Yeah. That's why I still, at almost 40, have fear of rejection. It carried on from middle school all the way up to parenthood. Good morning, Adam.
I'll give you I'll tell you about some good news, maybe, right? Like, I have 3 kids. One is 18, one is 15, and one is going to be 14 next week. And my 18-year-old, she's in college and she wants to be a teacher. So this is great. I had no idea what I wanted to be when I grew up, right? At 18. And she's super passionate about it, and she just loves it. She's geeking out, right? And then my middle daughter, she's really, really smart. I know she's going to be fine, but she has no idea what she wants to do. And then my son, if there was a job where you could play video games, like, he's all in. But he's not even like inspired to say he wants to be a professional video gamer. He has no idea. But he loves math. So we were driving around doing something, and I said, I asked them every half a year, like, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? And poor Ben has no clue. So I go, you love math, man. I first said, you want to be like, one day when I own Action, you want to work in the family business? He's like, nah, I heard your stories about your customers. No thanks. And I'm like, really? I go, listen, man, there's other parts. You can work in the office. He goes, no, I've heard those customer calls as well. I go, but listen, you love math. What if you went to school for like business finance? You could do anything. You could be an astronaut. You could be an engineer. Math is so cool and you're awesome at it. And I go, you could be my CFO. And he goes, what's that? I go, Chief Financial Officer, and you get a company car. And he's like, company car. So I might have turned my son towards the business. We'll find out. But stay tuned.
But you know what? When you lay out all those big benefits of the big title, it kind of makes them disappointed when they get to be 18 and it's like, wait a minute, Dad, this ain't what you said.
No, I don't.
They think that they'll be CFO when they graduate high school.
No. I already gave them the shovel. I said, here's the shovel for the first 10 years or 5 years, But who knows? I mean, gosh, if somebody, I told them, I said, if you got out of college and you had a lot of great business ideas that came from books and smart people and you were inspired and you dreamt, who really knows? The great job of being a CFO is about how to save money, how to manage money. And he's like, okay. So we'll see, EJ.
We will see.
Yep.
Let's see.
Got to inspire and dream and help them dream, right?
Yeah, I've been trying to do the same thing with my kids. I don't know if anything's going to happen, but they're great kids. They'll figure it out, I guess. I hope. But anyways,
so this week we're gonna. What's the topic going to be about this week, EJ?
People. That's what it is. So today we're going to talk about surrounding yourself with successful, positive people. Sounds familiar. It's almost what we talk about every day, but we're going to see if we can tell you something we haven't said before. Morning, so. So let's get started. I'll do the prayer. How about that?
Sounds good.
Lord God, our Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for this day that you've given us, Lord. We thank you for Mondays as a weekly renewal, Lord, and we thank you for Doug being beside me, Lord. We thank you for his wisdom and his personality, Lord, that lifts us up each Monday morning. Lord, we thank you for this Easter Sunday that we just come through, and all that it means, Lord, that it's not about the bunnies or the eggs, but that you died for us on the cross, Lord, that we would have everlasting life. Lord, we ask you to be with each and every one of them out there that's watching or listening, or even those that'll watch later. Lord, we ask you to keep them safe and lifted up, and that they would know your love, and that they would show it in all of the interactions that they have each day, Lord. We ask you to be with this show, Lord, that what we say and what we do would be evident of your love, and that you would use us as your vessel to let that out. In Jesus' name, amen.
Hey, I can't tell if Saul is 16 or 48 because he does know what a wigwag was. So, Saul, you have a family, buddy? That's what I need to know. I was praying for Saul last week, and I was like, gosh, I have no idea who Saul really is, other than a Marcone guy who punks me a lot and likes coffee.
He is definitely one of those, right? He could be 22 or 63. I don't know.
Yeah,
he's a good dude.
He is.
Gasper, good morning, Gasper. Thanks for joining us. I want to announce the news. Gasper will be a new co-host on Fridays. I'm excited about it. He is terrified. So come on the new Friday, and it'll be next Friday. He'll make his debut as a regular co-host. So welcome him and come in and tune in on next Friday, and we're gonna have a good time. Saul just turned 42 last month.
A young buck is what he is. Nice job, Saul. You're an impressive. Amazing.
Switch the numbers. Everything in Spanish is backwards.
So is that how that works?
Gotcha. I just read between the lines. He turned 42 last month.
All right. That would have made him brilliant.
All right, Doug, take it.
Well, we are going to be inspired today to talk about surrounding ourselves with successful and positive people. We got that from that Business Ground Rules book, right? And it kind of talks a little bit about the importance of surrounding ourselves with people that can inspire us, and that the negative comments and tones can really cause us to struggle and to lose motivation. Does that ever happen to you, EJ?
All the time.
Yeah,
all the time. Not as much as it used to, but yes.
Well, having 16 texts and doing this for such a long time, when I come up with a great idea over the years, and many of these guys aren't with me anymore, but I can still remember certain technicians' voices. Those are the guys who always come up with the most negative response, like why it won't work. As soon as it comes out of your mouth, they don't even ponder it. And so sometimes I'll brainstorm, or I'll be in a meeting with Brian, my service manager, and we'll go, what about this? And it's just like this chorus of no way, it's going to never work. And sometimes I, over the last few years, might not move forward with the idea at all, even in just thinking about it, because I'm worn out. I'm stressed out. And it's like, that's not a hill I'm willing to die for. And I'm assuming already that these negative voices in my head are going to change things. And so that's why I think in our inner circle, right? And I think we did the inner circle, the people in our inner circle. That's really important to have, so that we can bounce ideas off people that are outside of our sphere of day to day, that we can say, does this make sense? Does this sound good? Right? Yes. Can you think of the last time you've gone to your inner circle before you've gone to your company with something?
I think I do that almost every time. But the last one was when I visited my office help. Sorry, I can't clear my throat. Jason Shadowin was talking about service plans
Mm-hmm.
and how they could work in appliance repair.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you, it's kind of a taboo subject in some circles in the appliance repair industry. Some people assume that it's a waste of time, or that it's not worth the money, or that it won't ever sell, or it's stupid to do. I've heard all of those comments, and I don't think many of those people have tried it. But the angle I received from Jason kind of energized me, like, hey, this could happen. The way he came around, around the corner with it and explaining it. So I then called my team. My lead tech, who's usually the guy.
Yeah.
That just says, no, that's stupid. That ain't going to work.
Right.
And it's like, sometimes I wonder if he even thinks about this stuff before, or is it just as soon as my mouth opens, the predisposed response will be, no, that's stupid. So, I mean, I did it that way on this one. He actually considered it, and he was thinking about it the week prior too. So
that's
it kind of
really
surprised
cool.
me.
Yeah.
So, you mentioned sometimes you're just so beat down that you don't even mention the idea. I don't know what it is about me. Maybe it's because I still got another 26 years before I've been to your experience level in this. I still come in with these ideas, and they make fun of me. I say, guys, I got a really cool idea. And they're like, oh God.
That's right.
And I just walk in with a big smile on my face, ready to get kicked in the teeth.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm so excited that I'm not even fazed by it yet. I'm like,
that's right. No, and you're right. There are probably seasons of our lives where, it just, you've lost it for a little bit or whatever. I'll tell you, I think the reason why and this was probably like, I don't know, 2016 to 2018, I could easily be swayed to step back and not move forward because of the negative voices. But what I didn't realize then is that it was too much of just me, and I needed successful, positive people to lead alongside me. So I think I was understaffed as a leader, and now that made me make the negative people in our company even more negative, and those who can turn the corner and be inspired to be better people, which is my job as a leader, right? To grow people out of mindset that isn't healthy. That was all the way down here on the bottom of the to-do list and never got there. So once I had a really good service manager and an office manager, and we were able to delegate tasks out, I could focus on what's important. And so right now I'm in the same boat as you. I'm super geeked out about meeting with my leaders, my managers, and trying to help them lead. And so, if you're doing something you love, I guess negative people, you can't even hear them, right? It just goes out the window. And also when you become coach instead of the quarterback, there's a different mindset as well. Where it's more like you're an encourager, even though you're not on the front lines anymore. Just saying, I've been there, I've done that, I know, but I guarantee it'll work, or it'll have a positive effect. Let's do it together. Let me come alongside you. So that changes it. That makes it a more positive experience.
Have you ever noticed like a salesperson, like an actual salesman, that I've worked with salesmen before, like not with them, but on the same team, and I've seen what they do. And a lot of them talk about going out and getting kicked in the teeth every day, all day, just to get that one sale.
Sure.
and they keep coming back like a puppy.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like that. Like what I have is so good that I don't even care.
No one can discourage you, right? Yeah, there you go. That's a great. I like that analogy. That's really good. To be young again, EJ. There you go. Enjoy it. Enjoy it.
Yeah.
One of the things, looking through this chapter that kind of stood out to me, was it said to eliminate those toxic people that drag you down or make you feel bad. And if you can't eliminate them, then reduce the time you spend with them. I think that makes sense. But like I said, in the business world, you need these people that you're working with. So what do you think that means? Does that mean that if somebody's negative, we should just let them go? That we should threaten them and fire them? Like how would you handle somebody that you've got working on your team that's a naysayer?
Well, I think there's things that you can do. And if you are the leader, then you have to do your part to try to turn that around or at least manage it, right? Especially if they're a producer or performer. But if a toxic negative energy starts infecting the rest of the team, and you got to do something, but you got to stay within the right guidelines, right? So, I mean, one thing that I like to try to do is get to know that person, because it does say limit the amount of time you spend with them, but as a leader, you almost need to go right into the eye of the storm and say, figure out what's actually happening.
Yeah.
See if there's anything you can do. The whole adage, it's us until it's not us.
Sure.
What can we do to help this person? And until you figure out, well, they're just a miserable person. They just don't want to. They don't want to do this, and nobody really wants to be miserable,
right?
So figuring out how to work that out. But I think the biggest part is surrounding yourself and your team with other positive people. That can be even more infectious if that one person is the only one. Then they're not going to fit, and they'll know it.
And that's I think that's a great example of low hanging fruit. If you got a team that's gelling really well,
absolutely.
Well, let's get to that in a second. So if you got a team gelling really well and one person is just the oddball out, then that's easy. But can you imagine if like a quarter or a third or half of your team is like that? I think the question is it's probably you that is creating this mindset, because what kind of bad luck did you have hiring or inheriting 5 to 10 or 3, half your crew as negative? So I think I like what you were going with that. I think that they need to know the why, like why we do what we do. Can you imagine if they didn't know why? Like if they thought that all you cared about was money, EJ, and they went out on a job and they, overcharged or came in the office and said, man, I really took them for $300 on that call, and you're upset. They're going to be like, what the hell's wrong with this guy? I'm doing exactly what he wants from me.
Yeah.
So I think that your team, knowing who you are and knowing what you're really passionate about, if they can line that up with you, I feel like there's all these moments of victory that can come along the way. Like, hey, this little old lady hadn't had someone in her house for a year and a half, EJ, and I fixed her refrigerator and I helped her with this, and her day was so much better because, I was able to move this in her living room. I mean, I can only imagine knowing you and caring about you so much that if one of your employees came in and shared how they went above and beyond to make that lady's life better, that would be the grand slam home run, right?
Yes, absolutely. We celebrate those moments.
Celebrate. Right. So I would say that, like, again, if your mindset as a leader is negative, 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 and you're not reflecting back to say, what did I do to make them this way, or instigate this negative attitude? It starts with us digging in and figuring it out. You hire somebody that was never a good fit and is really negative. I think that you owe it to them try to turn them around, even though it's probably impossible. But you hired them. You're confusing them. Why did you hire them? You knew they were a negative person that didn't fit. They were a square peg in a round hole, but you brought them on anyway because you were desperate. Well, now you owe them. Now you owe them some of your soul to try to change their life. And think differently.
I was kind of thinking last week. You heard me talk about it, but the reflecting.
Yeah.
And as I reflected, I saw how good we actually did in the 3 slow months.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it's only 3. And this is a new quarter. But I looked back and I saw that I pushed dollars a lot for the last 3 months.
Mm.
And do more calls and make more sales. And why are we doing so many discounts? And because I was worried.
Yeah.
And 3 months of that can make a difference.
Yeah.
And that's not what we're about.
Right.
It's like it became my focus because of fear. So what we like to focus on is the 5-star reviews, which translates to 5-star service, taking care of our customers.
Yeah.
And I say a good portion of our 5-star reviews comes from customers we didn't make a sale for because we just did the right thing.
Right.
Recommending a replacement over a repair, and different things. And I like when I receive the reviews to share those stories where the customer really lays out what happened. They're like, oh my gosh, he helped me so much. And he could have done the other thing, but, and then I like to celebrate those and share them with the team and say, this is what we do. So I'm working on getting back to that this week. That's my focus this week, is trying to get everybody back into the service first, sales later.
Yeah, absolutely. So, just to kind of hit the more personal topic, I love that about this podcast, is we get to know people so well, right? Although clearly I almost believe Saul that he was 24, but obviously he couldn't be because he's very bitter as an old man, so it makes sense. But so how about EJ? How do you handle negative people you kind of need in your life because you have them in your life because they're family, or they're somebody that you can't abandon, you can't walk away from. So how do you process that?
Well, I'll tell you, I think it's really what we were talking about a minute ago. You have to limit the amount of time.
Yeah.
To keep yourself healthy.
Yeah.
But you try to influence and hold your light, even when you're in that. It's let your light shine. I know it sounds cliche, but the little puppy salesman. You're just happy. Just be happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're doing what you love. You love your life, and just be happy. And if they don't like it, they'll probably find a new company to hang with. And family. I'll tell you, I don't want to talk too much about my family because I don't like staying on that negative. But the ones that are like that, they find their way to not be around a lot. And I don't like it, but they they realize they don't fit, and you know, people realize they don't fit. They either find a way to fit, or they find somewhere else to fit. And when you're talking about family side, it gets a little tough. But I was on that side before, where I was doing things I wasn't supposed to be doing. I was thinking things and acting, and the misspent youth years. Uh, I was on the outside, and most people that are on the outside don't want to be. They say they do because there's so much positivity. And Jenny was talking recently about people saying she's toxic positivity.
Yeah.
Really? That's a thing? I want it. So I don't know how to answer that. How do you do it?
Well, I mean, I guess I'm grateful to God that He's made it easy for me to not take things personally, and to assume the best of others. I mean, it's probably the thing that I maybe do the best because it's easy to me. And what that does is it does help me have safe boundaries. Because if I'm assuming they're not evil, but that if I start to struggle to assume the best of them, then I just kind of limit my time with them. But you can't walk away from people that are important in your life. But you have to be able to balance and dance that line. So I think as long as I don't make it personal and assume the worst of why they're saying and doing what they're doing, but assume that they're hurting or they're struggling or they're in the midst of a crisis moment. And I will tell you, there's times when I get a little selfish and frustrated and say, what about me? What about me? Why am I always dancing around you and carefully navigating these emotional pop-ups? I've got a life too. I'm busy. I have my problems. Fortunately, those things only happen once in a great while.
Yeah.
So now I guess for what I'm trying to do is to see if I can just take, because it's probably a little too unhealthy for me to go that strong, but it's just the way my brain's wired. I think it might make me become a little bit of an enabler, almost like I was just thinking about this over the weekend. Maybe I'm putting my head in the sand with people that are important in my life that I need to be with, or people that I work with. If I don't deal with their toxicness or their unhealthiness and I just keep accepting it, I'm probably enabling their mindset. And so I don't know, I'm not to kind of work through that. It's just thinking over the weekend, maybe I should go see a therapist and make sure that this is a positive thing, or maybe I'm avoiding something. But I've got a lot of patience for people, and it's so exciting to see people change and turn the corner. And I've seen it happen, not necessarily because of me, but maybe because I'm part of their life as well. And that's what it's all about for me, is relationships. That's why at 53 I cry at commercials, I cry in TV shows. When someone didn't get rejected from something, I don't know. It's just the most bizarre things where I'm just going, that is so amazing, right? Because it's all about relationships for me.
Let's switch gears a little bit.
Yeah.
We've talked a lot about dealing with negative personalities. Where can we find more positive people to surround ourselves with? And not necessarily hiring positive people, but you mentioned our inner circle that I call the winner circle. Where do we find these people that are positive?
They are everywhere. And to me, again, I think it's a mindset thing that you have to be like zoned in and tuned in to find those people that are super positive. On Asti, I met a guy, and you did too. His name was Dehan from Canada, right?
Yeah.
And he spoke to me for about 5 minutes. And right away, I was super impressed and super excited that I met him, and I got his contact information. And we can get busy in the business, we can dig in, And I knew that this was going to happen. Post ASTI, you've got your hangover, you got to take your 32 naps, and then you got to get back to work and set your goals. While I was at ASTI, I set in my Google Calendar to contact him at the end of March, and just to reach out to him. And I did, and I got to meet his partner Jason. And holy mackerel, these are amazing people that are positive, like-minded, like me. And so we're meeting this Wednesday on Zoom, and you have to be a hunter. You have to be a hunter for positive people, and it's people who did. For me, I'm inspired by people who did what I did 10 and 20 years earlier than me, like you, EJ. You inspired me to, because what you're doing right now, I thought about doing, but you were brave and tough and strong. And and so I need to surround myself with people like you. So you've got to be on the hunt for them. You got to look for above average people, and then get to know them. And they're everywhere. You can find them everywhere and anywhere, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And locally, look for the people that you see doing good things, and try to meet them. Try to introduce yourself. Online in the industry, you got plenty of Facebook groups. Obviously, the Appliance Alliance group is there. Plenty of other Facebook groups. Try to find the people that are helping or being positive, sharing encouragement, and reach out. I get people reach out to me all the time on Messenger or whatnot, and asking questions. I've answered every one of them.
Right.
Not always immediately, but I answer. And I've done the same thing with other people. Yeah. I see something and we reach out. Doug started doing that with me years ago. 2-3 years ago now.
Yep.
And it came of this. So we have this show, The Morning Grind, and you see the people that are watching and interacting and the people we bring on. This is how it happens. Gasper wasn't ever on Facebook, and he was interacting, and we liked him, and we pulled him in. Now he can't get out. He's my buddy. He's always in a good mood, and if he ain't, we try to be, and we lift each other up.
Right.
He's probably the most recent example there, and we try to pull people in. So you can do that as well. Find people that you enjoy hearing from or seeing their interactions, and try to pull them in.
And you know what? It's for older people like Gasper and myself, and a few years older like Jay of Action, and guys that have been around a long time. They had it was a whole different world. They didn't have instant connection. Networking, you had to go to the parts distributor, and there'd be like a networking meeting there, or you'd have to join a business group or the Chamber of Commerce. It was a lot harder and more difficult and more in person, face to face. And then LinkedIn and all these things came around, but there's a struggle. This is me assuming things. There's a struggle for people that came from that old world of you figure it out on your own. You might read a magazine article about some trending thing that could work for your business. You might go to the annual convention and that's all you had, and come home with 2 or 3 things. And then you just took that raw material and you made it work for your business. And then you might see them again in a year, but we get to do this 24/7. If I can't sleep at 2 a.m, I can just pop up on a Facebook page or a group chat and just throw something out there. And if somebody's awake, I'm networking. But Can you imagine there's this generation before this one that's going, wait a minute, shh, don't tell them everything. Don't tell them everything. They're gonna take you out. They're gonna steal your business, your area, your customers. There could be some truth to that.
Yeah.
But it's lopsided. So we have to be hunters of people. We have to network, and it's so much easier to do it. And I look forward to growing my inner circle to a size where, like any aspect of my life or business, I can go to someone that I love and trust and believe in to get advice, to be held accountable, to be reprimanded, to be encouraged, but most importantly, to be loved and not feel like you're on an island. That's what successful people in your life, I think, it looks like.
Absolutely. There's two places that we kind of alluded to. One of them that you can find positive people and people that are wanting to do well. We just finished our Q1 mastermind series,
Yep.
and we'll be doing another one in Q3.
Yep.
And there's 12 men. I'm saying that because there was no women in it. 12 men came up, put their money where their mouth was, and showed up 9 weeks in a row. We did a bonus week, and they now have a group, 4 each, 3 groups of 4 that they can actually connect with.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, if you're not feeling comfortable putting together that group, join a mastermind group, join a peer group. You know, there's other organizations that have similar things, peer groups, masterminds.
Mm-hmm.
Find one and get involved in it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not ready for that, another one that we've been doing is the Leadership Book Club. Mm-hmm. We've got, I don't know, a dozen or so people in that. And we read a leadership book. And every week we get together and we discuss our thoughts, our takeaways, and we lift each other up. Sometimes it gets personal, and you know, we make bonds and connections. Mm-hmm. Just learning to be better leaders and better people. But that's why I call it my winner circle, because when I surround myself with winners, I'm going to be a winner. Mm. And I want to be one of those winners for other people. Yeah. You know, if they're spending time with me, I want them to gain something by being associated with me. Yeah. Because that's what I want. I want to be with people that are doing things that I'm doing, or have done things that I'm doing or will do. People that bring positive energy most of the time. There's occasionally we have to lift each other up, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Get down. That doesn't make us negative people.
Sure.
But being surrounded by successful, positive people makes that influence where we don't stay down. Mm. You know, every one of us, if we get down, we can call any one of us and we're gonna bring them up. You know, right. TK was mentioning last week even that he had a down week, and he called a few of us, and you know, we called him out, and we do that. I do that all the time. Mm-hmm. I call people and they have to straighten me out, and you know, we all have that, but doing it in a positive light, is difficult. And only the people that you love and trust can do that.
That's right.
Where we can do that with our brother, and him come out more enthusiastic, more encouraged on the other side. Find your winner circle.
Yeah.
And be worthy of being in it.
Right. And just awesome. What you just said is should be a little booklet, a leadership booklet. Perfectly. The thing is I just hope everyone understands it's a wide net cast, a casting of a net, not a narrow focus. I feel like if you're in a peer group and you've checked the box, that's where I'm networking. That's where my group is. You might be very transactional in this. like, hey, I'm committing this time to this group and I'm expecting a return on my investment. Yeah, I'm going to help, but I'm expecting to be helped in return. I'm expecting a good idea. I'm expecting something. And if you have that, that's a very tricky line from switching from that to just being who you are, falling in love and trusting those people because they're good people. They have similar work ethic. They may not be in the same place as you. They may be further along than you, but your words matter. You're not, what you have to say could affect somebody double your size. Like, be confident in that strong relationship. Some might think, well, where do you find people like this? Well, go to church. I was just chatting with my wife was chatting with me this past weekend. Like, church isn't filled with all good, successful, happy people. There are miserable people in there too. But amongst the whole group of those who do this and those who feel that way and those that are political, there are like-minded people that you can connect with that can inspire you and encourage you. And there's no one recipe. Everybody's different. What we need and how we can share and help others, it's different for all. So I think it's almost like a magnetic attraction. So you've got to be in many places. You got to go everywhere and anywhere and look for that person or those people and under every single rock. And that's those are cool stories to hear when you start to meet people and how you got to know them, so.
Absolutely.
So if I've never said it before, EJ, I appreciate you so much. This last 2 years, I consider you one of my guys locked in arm to arm, keeping me going and inspire me. And I would just give you half the credit for everything that we've done here. So thank you for who you are, EJ.
Well, thanks for saying it.
This is our last grind officially, right? We'll probably do a fill-in one here and there, but
yeah, we're switching things up. If you didn't hear it Friday, we're switching days and co-hosts and everything. So this is my last regularly. One of the hardest words to say. That
for you.
That and particularly. So one of our last scheduled grinds for me and Doug together. Moving forward, Doug will be on Monday mornings with Zach, and I'll be on Friday mornings with Gasper. And between Mike and TK, I don't know what's going to happen Thursday and Tuesday, but we will not be doing Wednesdays for the near future. A little bit of a break in between, and so we can group up and maybe try to have better content, not doing it as often. We've listened to the feedback. People love us, love the show, but maybe if we did it less frequently, we might have better content. So, Dan, you want to join the book club? That's how you join it. You ask. So, let us know if you want to join the book club. Dan, I'm gonna consider this you asking to be part of the book club, and I'll send you some information on Messenger. But
cool.
If you want to be in something, the best way to get in is to ask.
Dan's a doctor, isn't he? So now we have a doctor in the group. Is that right?
He goes by Dr. Dan. I don't know if he's an actual doctor.
The group just elevated to the next level if Dan joins because now we have a doctor in the group.
We're being associated with doctors.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Dan, if you're a doctor, I got this thing on my foot.
No. I don't want to hear about
it. Doug, I love you. Thank you for being with me on this. And I know this ain't the end, but we're going to do big things together, brother.
Agreed.
Everybody out there, thanks for watching. Go out there and have a great week. Find some positive people to connect with. And we'll see you back here next time.
Mm-hmm.